everybody, and welcome to another live episode of Game Time here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Excited to be getting into week 4 of the NFL season here. I am the Outlaw Joe Rocha, joined by my brother over there in football love for sure, and in movie love, Winston A. Marshall. How are you, Winston?
I'm good, man. I'm just stressing out. Like, that's the problem when you decide to come up with a series, like a funny series you're gonna do every week. Then you got to figure out what the fuck you gonna do. And like, my concern is like, what do I talk about this week? I have an idea I think will work, and I'm excited.
So let the fans know. Winston has he does a thing on TikTok. It's called the Sports Victim Unit. Kind of play on a Law and Order SVU. You guys should definitely watch these. They're funny as hell. But Winston's always stressed about what to come up with every week. So what do you got?
Well, because sometimes the stories write themselves. Like Dak Prescott breaking his hand week 1. That's easy because every Cowboys fan was like, "This is our year, Holmes." Like that was it. Like I didn't need to do anything. The season was over.
It's true.
Apparently, it's not.
Right.
So some of this shit writes itself. Oh boy, from the Bills last year having a full meltdown. That was easy.
Right. Last
week.
But
there wasn't. Yeah, but there isn't necessarily anything that like popped out here. I have 2 ideas.
Okay.
One of them is based off of all of the health concerns in the NFL, and one is just a very funny play on words. So we'll see which one I choose.
Two is still an option in my opinion. JJ Watt's an option, which we'll be talking about as well. But also Daniel Jones messing up his ankle right after Saquon Barkley has a great game. I don't know, just ideas. Throwing them out there.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I do.
We're going to get Salvation saying maybe Jonathan Taylor, who is having a terrible season fantasy-wise. Oh, maybe. It's not a bad idea either. It's not how many fantasy leagues are dead or teams are dead because they chose Jonathan Taylor. It's not a bad idea.
I appreciate the ideas, y'all. I really do. And like I said, we will see what may. There's one that's like we were on a walk. We do morning walks, Kristen and I, to like wake up and check in with each other.
Right.
And there's one that we kept gravitating towards. So I think that's the one I'll do. Right. Maybe one day I'll give y'all the reject ideas.
It could be a fun extra show for sure. It's awesome. And shout out to you all doing what you need to do for your relationship. That is a good thing in life. We're going to get into week 4 NFL news for sure. So I want to remind you all to please send in your Streamlabs and SuperChats as we go along. These are really important to show your support for the show. So many asked for it to come back. Well, it is back now. We're going to dive into all the stuff that's going on. The way the show usually works is we talk about the 6 big games of the week, take a break, then get into the best of the rest. We also got some news stories to jump into from the NFL that are connected to what was going on and what was being tweeted during the week as well. We're going to talk about all that here as we jump into it. The Streamlabs address is pinned in the chat. It's also there right above our heads in the middle there for sure. So let's get into it, man. Let's talk about the first game here, and that's the Chiefs Sunday Night Football last night. You know, we had a really great weekend of games, a fun weekend of games in both sections, the early and the late games, and then we had this fantastic capper to the weekend here with Patrick Mahomes leading the Chiefs over Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 41-31. Patrick Mahomes threw for 249 yards and 3 touchdowns, including an insane if you blink, you're going to miss it. Jump pass to Clyde Edwards-Helaire for a touchdown. It was insane. He also had throws to Travis Kelce and to Jody Fortson, making him in NFL history. He has reached 20,000 yards, 20,000 yards passing faster than any other quarterback ever in NFL history. That is insane. Brady on his side completed 39 of 52 passes, pretty good percentage, for 385 yards and 3 touchdowns without an interception. Mike Evans was back. You could clearly tell, Winston, the offense was so different with Mike Evans back there for Tom Brady, but they never could recover after they went down early in the first quarter. They never could quite recover. The Chiefs scored on like 3 or 4 possessions straight with touchdowns. So it's tough to beat a team if you can't stop the other team.
It's tough to beat a team when the opening play of the game, you turn over the ball at the 20-yard line and allow the Chiefs to score within 47 seconds, I believe was the time on the off the clock. You can do that bullshit against the lesser teams, and even then it's still the NFL, but you damn sure don't do it against a team that will always be, with this core and this coach, will always be in Super Bowl contention. Let's be really real about that. At any point in time, Patrick Mahomes, Kelce, and Reed can go like as a unit, and what they put around them can just go off and win the whole thing. So you do not do some shit like that. And Brady did his best to try and like come back, but like the Chiefs defense was on top of it, bro. And it's impressive. I think the most impressive part about it, people would make the argument that the Bucs are the best defense in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm a little partial. Obviously, I'm a little impartial to the Cowboys and the kind of stuff we're doing. Because to be honest, even though we lost to Brady, the way that defense handled the Bucs, is something to be said. And that was when they were probably at their strongest. That was before more injuries and suspensions. You know what I'm saying?
Good
so
point.
like,
good point. Yeah.
I. All that being said, all this did for me was confirm what I already felt. The Chiefs are in a league of that, like the AFC West is good, but I think they're in a league of their own. And I think that with a lot of the AFC teams, their only competition at the moment would be the Bills. And I would have said the Dolphins, but we don't know what's going to happen with Tua. So I honestly, I had picked the Chiefs to be my pick to go to the Super Bowl. I still stand by that, you know?
Yeah. I feel like Cooper Rush is not walking through the door for the Dolphins if the Tua situation gets worse. So, yeah, I think once we start focusing on that, if that becomes even more unstable as the weeks go along, it's going to be very interesting to see how the situation plays out in Miami. And we're going to get into that a little bit later for sure. And even that coach, I wonder how long he's going to be around because a lot of people are coming after him now, much more than they did a few days ago. So, yeah, I agree with you. You absolutely. This is how you bounce back after a shocking loss to a team that you shouldn't lose to, like the Colts. You come back and you beat a great team like the Buccaneers, led by Tom Brady, and in your business. And, you know, you're doing it in the stadium where you lost that Super Bowl. And Patrick Mahomes said, I still have a terrible taste in my mouth. And he put it in perspective. And he said, this is a regular season game. It's not a playoff game. It's not the same thing. But we got the job done. That's what matters here. Now they move on to next week and see what they're going to do. Tom Brady here. I mean, you know, there's limits to your team. They lost a lot of people in the offseason. They dealt with that Antonio Brown explosion in the middle of the season last year. Tom retired, then came back. There's a lot of instability on that team, and some of it led by Tom because of the life stuff he's going through right now, throwing tablets, smashing tablets, you know, losing receivers to being suspended because they got into fights on the field. There's a lot of unrest on that team, but they still come to play. And the defense did sack Mahomes 3 times. They intercepted him once. But in the end, it wasn't enough. And, you know, if you can't stop them, you're just going to lose the game. So, yeah, the Chiefs look great. The Buccaneers look valiant in coming back to try to come back and win the game. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. So I think you're right. I think we walk out of this game feeling like both of these teams are viable teams. Just one is humming a little bit better than the other one. If we're looking at possible Super Bowl berths,
the Bucs will win the division. I think their only competition, truthfully, was ever the Saints because the Falcons are trying to figure out who they are, and same with the Panthers because they've either been riddled with just shitty teams or injuries. They needed to figure their stuff out. So the Saints were their only competition, and they have completely come apart at the seams also because of injuries. So I don't think the Bucs have a rival in the division, but that doesn't mean that they are poised to go. Like there are a lot of teams in the NFC that would just mollywop the shit out of them right now. In my opinion.
Yeah, I like that. There's a lot of questions. I like that on the NFC side of things. I like that nothing is certain right now. Some teams look really good right now, but you don't know. You know, we've seen this before with a Brady-led team. Might find their rhythm as the season goes along, and the next thing you know, they're heading towards the Super Bowl. So we shall see. I was hit a couple of these super chats. Samir says, Winston, if Cooper Rush beats the Rams next week, will there be a quarterback controversy in Big D? Hashtag Coop. Hashtag Rush Hour.
That was smart. Samir knows that Rush Hour 1 and 2 are collectively my favorite film. So Rush Hour, that was a cute play on words. I like that. It could be. I find it hard to believe that when you paid Dak as much money as you did. And truthfully, so far, Cooper Rush has been good in the sense that he's 4-0 in his starts, 3-0 this year. So there's something to be said. I think the difference is, truthfully, I think that while as good as Cooper Rush is, and he may have just earned himself a starting job in another city for sure,
maybe
by next year.
I got a feeling Carolina's going to be looking again, but go ahead.
Potentially. The difference is that Dak's ceiling is much higher.
Right.
I think that Cooper Rush's floor for a backup is insanely good.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we've done a very good job about this. I will actually give the Dallas Cowboys credit. We have multiple times had to be in this situation of needing to lean on our backup, and we found a very good path of finding backup quarterbacks that not only fit in our program, but they thrive.
Yep.
So,
like Andy Dalton last year, doing
Andy Dalton, John Kitna back in the day,
right.
we have done a very good job of making sure our backup is ready to go and actually holding it down for us.
Yeah, there you go. Another one here from Zach Woodley saying, how about them Cowboys? I don't give a damn what Jerry says. There is no quarterback controversy. Yeah, you know Jerry loves to stir the fucking pot, man. He can't resist.
There's a reason he's the richest owner or or at least the most successful owner in the NFL. Some of them may be richer from other ventures, but he is definitely the most successful, and that's because he knows how to make sure the Cowboys stay in the news.
Yeah.
So again, if that comes back and he's like hot garbage, I mean, maybe for some part of the season, but you do not pay that man that much money and not let him handle it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, these games from Cooper Rush have been good games, but he hasn't been putting up like MVP numbers.
Right.
It's not like all of a sudden he's throwing for 405 touchdowns. He's putting up a decent 185, 210, and a touchdown. Remember, he almost had 3 interceptions yesterday. He got lucky off of penalties for 2.
Yep.
Just being real.
I know, you can be real. I like that. You're right. We'll get to that Cowboys Commanders game in a little bit for sure. Let's move on and keep sending in your Streamlabs and Super Chats, folks. You see the Streamlabs address on the screen there. Thanks for the Super Chats so far. Keep sending them in. All right, let's take a look at this other game that I really enjoyed here. The Buffalo Bills taking on the Baltimore Ravens. I was looking forward to this one. 2 strong offenses, 2 good defenses. What are we going to get? And we got a 23-20 comeback victory by the Buffalo Bills in the rain-soaked Baltimore Stadium there. They had to come back from 20-3 late in the second quarter on this Lamar Jackson-led Ravens team, and they got the job done. Josh Allen looked like a magician out there on some of those potential sacks that he turned around and turned into gains for his team to put them in position. He ended up leading the drive down there in near the end there, and Tyler Bass made a 21-yard field goal as time expired to get the victory 23-20. But this is also marred, Winston, by one of the most confounding coaching decisions I have seen in quite some time from someone who gets a lot of respect. I don't know what Harbaugh was thinking when they were down on the goal line. They had gone for it twice. When they were second and goal, there was fourth and goal now, and they end up not kicking the field goal with 4 minutes left in the game on a rain-soaked field, and they let Lamar run around there and throw the ball, and he threw an interception. And then Buffalo ends up taking the ball down the field eventually and kicking the field goal to win the game. So to me, yes, Buffalo deserves all the credit for coming back, but being down there on the goal line, not being able to punch it in, and then calling a 4th down pass, to me makes no sense. What do you think about this game and Harbaugh's decision?
There's a reason why this is one of my potential options for Law and Order for Sports Victims Unit, because this was. And then went and look, I will give somebody credit for sticking to their guns, because he then came back out in the press conference like, look, statistically, this, and gave all these reasons. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Statistically, my ass. Yeah.
But I think that was someone trying to cover your ass. I think when you consider that this Bills defense played you as tight as they did, where your quarterback was only put up 144 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. So he's not playing great. He used his legs a decent amount, 73 yards on the ground. So overall offense from Lamar has been good. But as far as throwing this game, he's been meh. I know you're saying you trust your defense, but they've been kind of meh. Some days they're killing it and some days they're not.
Need I remind you of the Dolphins game? Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I know that Josh Allen didn't put up wild numbers, 213, a touchdown and an interception, but he also put 70 on his feet. This is the most explosive offense in football. Why on God's green earth, even if you have held them to 20 points at this part, you've been coming apart at the seams since halftime.
Yeah.
Why would you do this? So it makes more sense get the points, go up, and then give your defense some sort of like backing instead of the pressure of we have to hold it all. That to me was a mistake. I get it if you admit
pressure for the defense. Great point.
I agree. And I get it. You score the touchdown, there's even more pressure on that offense to put up or shut up. And now it doesn't feel like OT rules of like, okay, well, if they score a touchdown here, or if they score a field goal, we're still tied up, versus if they score a touchdown, they walk away. You set yourself up that all they had to do was march part way down the field and let the kicker finish it. That was, if you are 4th and goal on the 1, fine. 4th and goal on, what was it, like the 7 or something like that?
Yeah, it was weird. It was like it was 4th and goal. They weren't on the 1. They weren't even on the goal line itself, or right near the goal line itself. They were a little further back. So it's quizzical. Why not call a run for Lamar? Why throw? Why throw? It's weird.
I just get it leads to the fact, because if you did that, then maybe they're pinned against like the 1, if that's what you're trying to do, and safety your way out
instead of the 20.
But because of, I mean, where you were, if you had missed, they're on the 7, which is still back there. But worst case scenario, which happened, he threw an interception touchback. They're on the 20. Like they can run a regular ass drive. It just questionable ass decision. I don't care how much you believe in Lamar. Win the game. You're against the toughest team in football. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few people come in here and give us crap over the years doing Game Time and doing Collider Sports that the Baltimore Ravens don't get enough respect, that we don't respect Lamar Jackson enough. Well, here's a moment for all the people who've been crowing about Lamar Jackson to show up and throw the ball and get the touchdown. Look at that touchdown Mahomes threw against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Literally falling out of bounds, does a jump pass with a 360 and completes it to Edwards-Helaire for a touchdown.
Okay, I think you are conflating a lot of that play into one. It was a spin off again, about to get tackled, hit him with the quick alley-oop. You out here acting like he mid-air flail, look like a damn and one mixtape. It was sick, and he did put some moves on. Come on, man.
It looked like the Asian guy from Ocean's 11. He was like traveling over. It was incredible.
Did you see the during the game they showed him during the practice before the game, the warm-up?
Oh yes.
He actually practiced that play. He was out here pretending he was playing basketball. He was like, and then he did one of these, and it was somebody there pretending to be the basket. Then they all said, "Oh!" So like he essentially was practicing doing that.
So there you go. So I mean, practice makes perfect. But with Lamar, I mean, I just feel like Lamar is snake bit for whatever reason, and I know he's a good quarterback. I'm never going to say he's not a good quarterback, but more often than not, in these pressure-filled situations, he makes the mistake, or the team doesn't come up, or the team falls short of being able to help him win the game. So it's frustrating. And the Ravens defense is developing a dangerous pattern of surrendering leads. The game against Miami, and last week they almost surrendered again and were able to hold it off. And then this week they did it. They surrendered a 20-3 lead, a 17-point lead at home to these Buffalo Bills. And that is something that should concern Harbaugh more than his boneheaded decisions on a 4th and goal. It is that his defense is not getting the job done week to week.
I mean, part of it, Rocha, I think that's wild, is it doesn't help when you have those 2 interceptions. It doesn't help when you don't score the entire second half. Your offense has to put something up. And that's the other part that doesn't make sense. Your offense hasn't scored the entire half.
Yeah.
Meaning, what makes you think that on this 4th down, they're just going to magically figure it all out and like go get take your goddamn points? But like beyond all that, I was having PTSD in the sense of, because what this Ravens defense reminds me of is Cowboys defenses of the past, where they're very explosive in the beginning. And you're like, God damn, this might be the most lockdown D&D ever. And then the second half comes and they're just gassed. They have nothing left. And it comes both A, from maybe they're not as good as you thought, but also B, if your offense isn't giving you the proper rest, they're not scoring. And this is constantly on you. That eats it. Like defenses, it is much harder for defenses than it is for offenses most of the time, because they're just constantly being worn down and worn down and worn down. It's in a war of attrition. the person that's going for the points, it's a little bit easier than the person that's stopping you from getting there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. But let's take a look at it again. I want to make sure people understand what we witnessed here in this game. Here is Mahomes. Oops, I'm turn the sound off. Look at this, 360, and then
and then a little and then literally, as Steph is known to do with his he did his little pop layup where he just kind of finger rolls it off.
Yes,
it was pretty amazing. Amazing.
I respect Bruce. Bruce is in here trying to tell me they're not the same, but look, look, he's throwing an interception on 4th and goal with 4:09. Throw the ball away. If the receiver is not there, throw the ball away. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, here's Lamar trying to do this thing here, and let's slow it down, and I'll take the sound out because I don't want to get in trouble, like I said.
Yeah.
And here he is, right? Here it is. You can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's terrifying. That's the thing, and I know he's locked in, and that's really hard. But run it back just a little bit, Rocha.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Speak your truth here. Let me run it back. Okay, go ahead.
So So when he first is and again, it's hard. No, further, a little further.
Further back.
He's in. Yes. Because he's in trouble already right now, right? Like go. Number 90. Right. Pause it right there. Number 90 is right there. So he's already kind of screwed. If he saw this and was able to spin off, maybe
go to the side,
spin off or run up between 77 and 72, but I don't think he sees it. And then you at least make a dash for the goal line and see what you can do. But he doesn't really have options right there. And the minute this number 90 gets let go, because you can't get a holding call here,
right,
you're fucked. And he's like, I just got to get rid of the ball, and that's the issue. Yep. That's a nasty play to have to make. Versus for Mahomes, again, he is already at the goal. He literally has to throw it over somebody's head about 3 yards.
Right.
So it's not the execution at the end is very different.
The line of scrimmage was the 2.5 yard line, Winston. It wasn't the 7. He was backed up in shotgun.
So they were in shotgun. Okay.
But like the line of scrimmage was the 2.5 yard line. You're right. Here's homie right there, wide open on the left side.
You would have to see it. And that's
progressions. Go through your progressions.
But that's the thing. Go back. Just because he really isn't. I agree. He's not. He is zoned in on where he wants to go.
Right. He immediately moves to the right because he thinks that's where he needs to go. He does not
especially
stand in front.
Yeah. If he saw number 90, you do the thing that Russell does better than anybody. You do that spin off your shoulder, and you've got a half second to get around them. Because they have to then adjust their feet. That was rough. Bot attack. We got
sorry about that. Yeah.
No, you're good. Just letting you know.
But Bruce, I get your point, Bruce, that they're two different plays. But if you think Patrick Mahomes is throwing an interception on 4th and goal in the same situation as Lamar Jackson, you're insane. I'm just telling you right now. I think Lamar get in these pressure situations because of the amount of pressure on him. It just gets to him, and he doesn't come through a majority of the time. He's a fantastic ball player. I'm not going to deny that. But in those critical moments against great teams, when you're trying to prove you're a Super Bowl contender, he doesn't show up sometimes.
And that's the big thing is it you're right. It what it looks like so far is big pressure moments, which is why we were so hard on him at the end of that Dolphins game. And people were like, you need to give Lamar more of a chance. Until Lamar genuinely shows being able to handle this type of close it out pressure, handle it. Like I'm sure he's had come from behind victories. I'm sure he's had hold it down in fourth quarter. Like I don't know his full catalog. I get that, but this is a AFC championship preview.
Yes,
and in the moment when you they needed you to score. And because, again, Brady has gone up against the best defenses in the league. Mahomes has gone up against the best defenses in the league, and they've figured it out consistently. I need him to do it consistently.
Yeah.
And that worries me. It genuinely worries me.
Yeah, that's the thing that should be. And, you watch Josh Allen lead that team. The Ravens were coming all over him almost every play, and he was able to elude it, and find the wide open receiver. And Lamar Jackson is not that accurate of a passer to be thrown off his back foot on a 4th down play. He just isn't. And that's the thing you got to take in your mind. Yeah, you always take the points or throw it away. So you pin them on the 2.5 yard line with that hungry defense. and the entire crowd yelling for your team.
It's if you went through all of these quarterbacks and what their strengths and weaknesses are, that's not his weakness, or that's not his strength. Like he's not if he's gonna throw, getting a full like set throwing like a regular quarterback, great. It's Mahomes that can throw like doing a cartwheel and then like kind of flip tip something to somebody. Absolutely. That's not what Lamar does. Lamar will either burn the hell out of you with his legs or he sets and gives you a bomb. You know, so
exactly. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. We got any Streamlabs and Super Chat? Send them in, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, send in your support here for what we're doing on Game Time. You guys wanted us to come back, so show us some love here in your sending in the Streamlabs and Super Chat. We prefer Streamlabs because Super Chat takes 50% now. YouTube does, so you know everyone's profits are taking a hit. So please send in your love, send in your support for us talking NFL football every week. All right, let's move on to the Eagles, man. Our NFC East compatriots, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles appearing this high in the show for the first time so far this year. They had a hell of a game here against these Jaguars. They spoiled their former coach, Doug Peterson's return here by winning the game 29-21. Miles Sanders ran for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts threw for 204 yards and ran for a score, and they won 29-21. Trevor Lawrence threw for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also lost the ball 4 times. He didn't fumble and get it back. He lost the ball 4 times, including on the final drive to try to maybe tie the game up. He fumbled the ball again. So this is between him and Melvin Douglas III. I don't know who fumbles the ball more so far this season, but it's insane how much he fumbles the ball. And the Jaguars were still in this, and the Eagles came back down 14-0, Winston. So these Eagles look ready, man. Better than any Eagles team I've seen in my lifetime, maybe.
I think the thing that scares me, honestly, because this might have been. Let me look at the Eagles' schedule real quick as we've seen it so far, because this is definitely okay. They haven't really played anybody of merit, in my opinion. I think the Lions look better this year. I think the Vikings look better this year, but both of them are very hit or miss. And no offense, you guys suck. Like the Washington
of course we suck. I told you we suck. What offense?
Washington and New York. Washington and New York sucks. So I think that just looking at their schedule, because the Cardinals can't be trusted, I think their first major test is us. Which is scary. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I think our first test is the Rams next weekend. Because I take that back. We played the Bucs. Right. And we lost, but we did answer the call. Like it was actually a pretty decent game, all things considered. We lost Dak. That defense got to Brady multiple times, and it looked like a decent game. We just could not get our act together offensively. So,
but let's focus on the Eagles here. Stop talking about your team.
No. I say that to say this was like one of their first tests because the Jaguars have looked pretty decent.
Yeah, they have looked good. Yeah.
And they answered, bro. 20 unanswered. Was it 20 unanswered in the second?
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds right. 20 unanswered in the second. They look really good.
Jalen Hurts looks so good.
He looks like the MVP so far.
Man. Yeah, man. I mean,
he looks like the MVP.
He looks unrattled. He threw that pick 6. They went down 14-0. He rallied that team. He got them to believe in themselves and went forward, and they got the job done. I don't want to get a strike. They got the job done. And let me correct myself. Melvin Gordon III, Douglas and Gordon, you know those names. They kind of are.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon III, who keeps fumbling the ball every time he gets it for Denver. So this is the problem. Trevor had a shitty year under a terrible coach last year. He's got a way better coach this year. They've looked good. Just going to have to deal with the growing pains of this guy becoming great. Look, Troy Aikman was 1-15 his first season, threw interceptions like crazy all over the place. They only beat us, the sons of bitches. And so, so you've got to be patient with a burgeoning young quarterback. And I think Trevor Lawrence next year is going to be like Jalen Hurts looks right now. So you just be patient with it.
I would say just based off of his play style, he'll look more like Josh Allen, which to me is slightly scarier. I know that Jalen Hurts is balling out of control right now.
Yeah.
I'm still more scared of Josh Allen than I am Jalen Hurts. And that's only because I have a bigger body of work to look at and see that Josh can do it consistently. Whereas Jalen has done it for essentially 4 games right now.
Yep.
Now I'll be honest with you. I'm very much looking for, I am more scared personally of the Rams. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute, than I am of Philly, just because this offense is dynamite. This defense is like very good, but it's not blow your mind.
When you say scared, what do you mean? Do you think your Cowboys are going to be in the conversation for a Super Bowl berth? Is that what you're?
No. But I do think that we have a high probability of beating the Eagles. I think if you're just looking at matchups, Jalen Hurts so far has not done well with defenses, and this is previous to this year. He's not done well against defenses that can put legitimate pressure on him.
Yeah.
I don't know a team that is doing better than pressuring the fuck out of people than Micah by himself scaring you. And the minute you think you have Micah handled, somebody out of nowhere fucks you up. So I'm very curious to see about the Eagles playing against a defense that can get to him. I don't know if JJ Watt apparently is a super zombie and can do what he needs to do. Maybe he's the answer. He can answer the call and be the first team to take down the Eagles. But
yeah. And this will be interesting. Like the Eagles right now coming up, they're at Arizona against the Cardinals, Kyler Murray and those Cardinals. Who knows what you got in those Cardinals week to week. Then they've got the Cowboys at home in Philly, which is a Sunday night game, I believe. And then the Steelers at the Texans, then us at home, at their home, at the Colts. And then they play the Packers at home in Philadelphia. So to me, that's going to be very, very interesting. That Packers game, which is November 27th. Is that the Thanksgiving game? Holy shit. That's awesome if it's Eagles-Packers on Thanksgiving. I'm down with that.
Now, Lord. That is going to be
my turkey over
bro. Holy shit.
So,
but that's the thing. I think the Eagles played their first real taste, and so did because the Jaguars.
Yeah,
who have they been playing? That's a good question. I don't think I know what their schedule has been.
My Commanders
2-2.
And then they played the Colts and they played the Chargers. So they killed the Chargers.
So see now I have to go back and they killed the Colts.
True.
I gotta go back and look at who they played. And the truth is the only real test they had is the Eagles, and that's not because the Chargers aren't good, but it is because they played the Chargers at probably their weakest point of missing one of their top two receivers, and Herbert is not healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like they didn't really, looking at this now, they didn't really play any competition so far. So shit. I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess that just goes to show that maybe the Jaguars were a baby bit fraudulent.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, they're going to learn as it goes along.
They will. It hurts to admit this, but the one thing I will say about the Eagles so far, the Eagles are the best looking team in the NFC, period. It's not even a question. They are the best team in the NFC. They seem to score kind of at will. Yeah. So I am very curious whether it's us or some other team with a really like get in your face defense if they hold up.
I think they're the only undefeated team in the NFL at 4-0. Mm-hmm. So shout out to them for that. Another bot coming in here. All right, I got to block you. All right, let's move on here. Keep sending in your Streamlabs and Superchats as we go along, ladies and gentlemen. I can remind you that after every game we talk about. Oh, and one final stat for this, which is insane. According to Yahoo Sports, the Jaguars have lost 18 straight games to NFC East opponents. So this bodes well for the Cowboys. So,
bro, if we lose to them now, do you know I'm going to be so distraught? It better be y'all. Oh, y'all, you beat them. It better be New York. It better be New York, goddammit. New York better lose that shit.
We shall see. We shall see. Another potential Super Bowl contender, depending on if they work stuff out here. The Green Bay Packers took on the New England Patriots there in Lambeau Field. Rodgers threw 2 second-half touchdowns and led an overtime drive that resulted in Mason Crosby's 31-yard field goal to be the victorious points there in overtime, 23-20, as time expired in overtime, by the way, and they won 27-24. The fact that it even went to overtime is a shock and a half because the Pats were down to their third-string quarterback for a majority of the game. They lost Brian Hoyer in the second series of the game, and Bailey Zapp here from Western Kentucky stepped in. I mean, it's not like he went 500 yards. He threw for 10 for 15 yards or 10 for 15 for 99 yards with a touchdown. But it was enough. And their defense played really well against Aaron Rodgers. Got a pick six, which was his first pick six he's thrown since 2020. And Rodgers finished the first half with an 11.2 passer rating, going 4 for 11 for 44 yards. Picked it up by the end of the game. Ended with 21 of 35. For 251 yards. So I was really shocked because Mac Jones was out in this game. I thought Hoyer would do a decent job. To have a third-string quarterback come in from Western Kentucky and hang in Lambeau Field against these Packers, it was pretty surprising. And they almost won, Winston. It's crazy.
I just, if anything, I mean, one, you got to give Belichick his flowers. Like, he's yes, he reached the heights he reached with the Patriots because of Brady, but he had to contribute his own part. So I'm not surprised. No, I'm serious. As far as getting his teams ready and getting these defenses to handle their business.
I'm laughing at this. Daniel Savoya says, I swear, if Zap becomes the next Brady.
I mean, with a name like Zap, bro, I would root for that dude, even if it's on the team I hate more than anything. Like, fuck it. Bailey Zapp, like, bro, I don't know what his parents were smoking, but I'm here for it.
Out of Western Kentucky. Yeah.
I gotta give Belichick credit. I gotta give Belichick credit.
Yeah.
For having your third string guy ready to do this. Holy shit.
No shit. On the road in Green Bay. Yeah.
So, the Patriots aren't really doing anything this year, but it's still a Belichick-led defense. So I'm not surprised that Aaron Rodgers still had he still had a really good game when it was all said and done. I mean, 251, 2 touchdowns and an interception. I know you were saying he was struggling for a bit.
First half,
yeah. So I don't know, dude. I think I'm enjoying watching these young receivers step up in Green Bay. Yeah. I think seeing Romeo was it Doubs or Dobbs?
Dobbs, yeah, Dobbs.
Dobbs. I love seeing Romeo Dobbs really look like he's going to be the guy. Mm-hmm. And having Lazard and Cobb kind of give him the support as he does that. And I'm glad to see Aaron Jones got back to form. So I still think the Packers are super dangerous. I think regardless of if Belichick's team is going to win anything, it's coached by Belichick.
Right.
Same thing with Tomlin. Even if the Steelers are just boo-boo trash, Tomlin's teams scrap and they make you earn it. Even if they don't have the talent to beat you, they make you earn the victory. Yeah,
and it's kind of shocking. I mean, look, if you look at the stats for the Patriots, it's really surprising they were in this game. As we said, Bailey Zapp, 10 of 15 for 99 yards and a touchdown. Damian Harris had 86 yards rushing and a touchdown, but no receiver had more than 46 yards receiving for the game. Yet somehow they were able to hang with these Packers. So it's just really surprising. And Aaron Jones popped off for 110 yards. What's all these commercials, man? Popped off for 110 yards. Lazard had 116 yards receiving on only 6 catches. So, they were all over up and down the field, but somehow they stayed in this game. And, they had some lucky situations, but in the end, almost had a chance to win this thing. So I walked away from this going, this is Green Bay's another learning experience, as you said, for the rookie receivers, but it's another feeling like New England, like, hey, we're going to be okay. We may not get it all done all the way this year, but we got ourselves a damn good team, and we'll see how far they take us.
I mean, I'm not surprised that no receiver had more than 46 yards. I mean, consider that Zapp didn't even make it to 100 yards, that he only threw 15 times, and he got sacked 3 times for 24. Those are rookie, undrafted, third-string quarterback, growing pains.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying? But he still got down the field at least at the equivalent of 1 time and scored a touchdown, just yardage and touchdown-wise. So good for him on that. But I'm not surprised that everybody was on the low end when you're dealing with both of your backups.
Yeah.
One who is a veteran but got injured so quickly that he didn't get a groove, and now the rookie has to literally learn on the fly. That's a lot to ask of a guy,
I agree. Reggie Donald saying, who's his backup now? LOL. You're right. Who is Bailey Zapp's backup?
They're going to have to go get somebody else. If there's somebody else on the practice squad, or if they got to go make a signing this week, that's the first thing you look into, honestly.
I think it's Tommy Lightning. Tommy Lightning will be his backup.
Tommy Lightning. Oh, well, what was Eli? Man, Chad Powers. You got to get Chad Powers to go in, bro. Chad immediately abandoned Penn State and went into the draft. You throw Chad Powers in there.
Please don't even get me started. That'd be awesome. Chad Powers showing up in the game. All right, let's move on to our next one. Keep sending in your Streamlabs and SuperChats, folks. Here we go. This is the game that Winston's been waiting to talk about. Cooper Rush wins again as the Cowboys beat my Commanders 25-10. Wasn't even, well, I guess it was close when it was 7-6 or 10-6, but really it wasn't close in my mind. Cooper Rush won again, throwing a scoring pass to Michael Gallup, who was coming back from a long layoff from injury, and CeeDee Lamb got a touchdown as well. And as Winston mentioned earlier, he went to 4-0 as a starter, including last year, 15 of 27 for 223 yards. Here's another great stat. He has not thrown an interception in any of his 3 starts this season. That's incredible. And he's being helped by this Dallas defense, which hasn't given up more than 17 points in a game during Rush's run. It's the first time that the Cowboys defense has held the team's first opponents to under 19 points or 19 points or fewer since 1973. For God's sakes, I don't know if Winston's parents had even met in 1973. Washington outgained Dallas 297 yards to 279 yards, but we got penalties like crazy. We threw interceptions, fumbled the ball, 11 penalties for 136 yards after only getting 128 yards of penalties the last 3 weeks. So we clearly were not disciplined in this game, and it ended up costing us. And then, of course, Dan Snyder, who's a cowardly piece of shit, showed up in Dallas. He hasn't showed up yet at a game at home, but he showed up in Dallas to walk the field with Jerry because he knows he wouldn't get fucking hassled by the fans because he's a coward. And that's another part of this, another element of this game as well. Winston, talk to me about your Cowboys. What do you take away from this game? I mean, we're giving them all kinds of plaudits the whole show, but what do you take away extra from this game?
I mean, let's keep it a buck. Good for Cooper Rush, had a good game, 223 and 2 touchdowns, but stats don't always tell the full tale.
Sure.
3 interceptions overturned because of penalties. Let's make it really real here. 3. So let's not pretend like he was just out here balling out of control and that's why he deserves to just have the job. He did play exceptionally well. He got the dub. Mm-hmm. He scored. He got the team to score twice in the air.
Yep.
Like, give the man his credit where credit is due. 3. Okay? So let's just be really real about that. But the story to me remains, it has never really been about this offense. I'm glad CeeDee Lamb has got his stride now. I hope people will get off his nuts. Like he's doing what he said he was going to do. Yeah. It was good to have Gallup back. Noah Brown is continuously looking like an all-star, like a potential Pro Bowl candidate the way he's playing. It will depend, obviously, if he meshes like that when Dak comes back or if this is really that Cooper Rush connect.
Yeah.
It's never been about our offense this season. It's been about that defense. Our defense has been
great,
has been insane. Mm-hmm. And even on days where Micah Parsons doesn't get a sack, him and Dan Quinn collectively have put something in the water that people are getting there. We still got 2 sacks on Wentz.
Yeah.
I got really nervous because there was a point where he was grabbing his back. I was like, "Oh Lord, please, Lord Jesus, no!" But he was okay. So yeah, I think my favorite story of the season for us though is Trayvon Diggs. For all the shit people have talked about Trayvon, he has improved so much, still getting his interceptions.
Yeah, he got
but making massive like game-saving plays, like multiple deflections at the end there that if he doesn't get his hand up, we're having a different conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't know if we're going to win another game the rest of the season. I'll be honest with you. We don't. I don't trust Carson in any way, shape, or form. I don't think the kid has it there mentally. I don't think Ron Rivera is a good coach. I don't think our offense or defense comes to play, and it's frustrating.
You'll get the Bears. You'll get the Texans. You'll get the Falcons.
The Texans look good, almost coming back to beat the Chargers.
No. You got those 3 games and maybe one of the Giants games. It's weird that you guys play them back to back.
Okay. Yeah,
that is weird. Very weird that you play them back to back. But has that happened before?
I don't know. But with Saquon balling out like it did yesterday, I don't know if that bodes well for us at all. So to me, I just don't see us. We're just not a team that looks dangerous or looks threatening. And every week it's like, I really hope we win instead of like, yeah, let's go get them. So, and that's the frustrating part of it all. But we've got new uniforms every week. So that's nice. But like the Oregon.
I mean, those uniforms were sexy, bro.
I know.
I almost became a fan just because of those uniforms. I was like, oh Lord. I mean, not really because my team is so much better than yours, but I'm like contemplating this.
Claudia Dolphins watching us right now. Dallas Cowboys fan. Claudia, did you hear Winston say he was going to be a Washington Commanders fan over a uniform? Claudia, give him hell.
Those were some sexy ass uniform. Bro, come on now. You ain't never seen like your hated enemy. You'll be like, damn, I want to kick your ass. I kind of want to kiss your mouth, but I want to kick your ass. Like bro, sometimes
Are we reviewing Game of Thrones all of a sudden? What are you
talking? Bro, sometimes I be looking at Stacey Dash and I'm like, damn, I do remember your clueless days, girl. You fine. And then other days I'm like, yeah, fuck you asshole. It is what it is.
Don't tell her DMX is dead. Let's take
bots are back again.
These are the uniforms they were wearing. Yeah, you're right. The All Blacks are nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. The All Blacks are nice. I just wish we played better in those All Blacks, and the All Whites were nice as well. I'm not going to deny. Look at two. There we go. Two linemen blocking each other on their own team. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. The other team was in white.
Well, I know why we won now. Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Y'all are blocking each other. Holy shit.
Oh no. No.
Ooh, Photoshop is the best.
That is rough. All right. That is rough. The bots again are back. All right, we'll block there. All right. Anyway, we shall see. Thanks, Norvell Ross, sending in a $20 super chat. Appreciate it. If you guys can always send in super stickers. If you're watching later, you can always hit that thanks button at the bottom of the screen there, or right there where you see the like button and all that stuff. There's a thanks button, and you can send in some support here for the show as well, or any of the shows we do here on the Outlaw Nation. So you can always do that later when you're watching. When it's not live. JMB says a total tangent. Just wanted you to know that on top 10, the Golden Globes episode is actually the Face Your Fear episode. Think the wrong one got upped? I don't know what that means.
Uploaded. It looks like the wrong episode got uploaded instead of your Golden Globes. It was the Face Your Fear is what he said.
Okay. Is that all right? I don't know what that's all about. I can talk to Matt about it, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Thanks, JMB. Appreciate it. I'm in the middle of a show. I can't do nothing right now, JMB. So
no, but he's letting you know. So you take a note, bro. I get it.
I took the note.
if he was like, well, why aren't you fixing it right now, John? I don't give a fuck about the Commanders. No. Fix it the fuck now. Like, if that's what he's saying, we're having a different conversation.
Thank you, JMB. I appreciate it. You're right. All right, let's move on to our last game in the first block here, and please keep sending in Streamlabs and Super Chats. Geno Smith and Rashad Penny led the Seahawks in this incredible 48-45 victory over the Detroit Lions. This game was utter madness. It was like watching an old school AFC game from the 1980s. It was madness how insane the score was getting. And like every time you looked, it was higher and higher and higher. Geno Smith accounted for 3 touchdowns in the first half, going 23 of 30 for 320 yards. Rashad Penny had a pair of long second half scoring runs, helping Seattle hold off the Lions. The Lions are averaging 35 points a game, but they're also giving up a little bit more than 35 points a game, which explains their record. They're the first team in NFL history to have scored and allowed a combined 281 points through the first 4 games of a season. One positive, Jared Goff, 4 touchdowns, TJ Hawkinson, 8 receptions for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. And DK Metcalf for the Seahawks got himself 7 catches for 149 yards. So Geno Smith can ball sometimes, but not consistently enough. Got the job done here.
You know who's about to catch a long trip to the bench for a while? Fucking Kyle Pitts, bro. Kyle Pitts just being that guy. I leave him in, and Hawkinson as my backup, just chilling on the bench. Would have won my matchup because. That's insane. That's 12 points from the touchdowns. That's roughly about 18. We'll just call it 18 from the yardage. That's already 30 points before we even get to it's a PPR. So that's an extra 4. And he's just chilling on my bench, bro. I fucking hate it.
Right. Let me ask you something about something that happened in the middle of the game here. DK Metcalf had to be taken off the field. Here is the footage. It says DK Metcalf got carted off the field to use the bathroom. The DK Metcalf, and DK Metcalf retweeted this and said, or quote tweeted, said that clinch walk wouldn't have made it, bro. We've all been there.
Look, man, this is twice in one weekend, which makes me so happy. I don't know if you heard, but in Atlanta, in Atlanta, not on this didn't happen on the football field.
Okay.
Lil Nas X was doing his concert, and all of a sudden, he got on the microphone. He goes, "Hey, y'all, this isn't a part of the show, but just to let you know, I really got to take a shit right now. So it's going to be a couple minutes." And they all start cheering. And then afterwards, he put on Twitter, he was like, "Oh, man, yeah, no, I just wanted to let him know. But yeah, it needed to happen. I was dropping demons in that toilet." So that's twice. I respect it. I think that this is super real. The last thing you want is to shit yourself on the field. Including there was a video on Twitter. I don't know if it had anything to do with both of those happening, but someone tagged me in it of two dudes fighting in a locker room. Oof. And they were like, there was, someone going, "This is my worst nightmare." And I was like, "Well, what's the nightmare?" At the end of the fight, you notice, "Yo, why does it smell like somebody like fart?" No, it smells worse. And then they look down, they go, "Oh my God." And there was shit all over the ground where they were fighting.
Oh,
some dude shit himself. So, like, look, if you gotta go, you gotta go, bro. Yeah. Like, it's so good for DK for being like, "Get me the fuck up out of here real quick."
No doubt. And he's all calm about it, too, because I think he's worried that he's going to go in the middle of the field. So he's like, if I just act calm, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen if I just go. But look at his face. He's just like, okay, just get me there. But you see the sweat. You see the heavy breathing. That isn't from the game.
That's not the game. That's from his stomach just bailing on it. Bro, look, it's better than Paul Pierce's ass, who literally apparently had already started to shit himself and pretended like he had torn something in his knee and made a big fuss, only to turn around and come back out and be like, "Let's go!" Like,
the worst is when you hear about pro wrestlers who shit themselves. I mean, that's a very famous CM Punk story that he was recovering from some illness or was in the middle of some illness. The doctors didn't want him to miss the match, or WWE didn't want him to miss the match. So they gave him some meds. The meds made him poop his shorts in the middle of the match. Now, you may not know this, but the guys sometimes wear 2 or 3 shorts under their bikini briefs for those who wrestle. So that's a possibility. So this idea of having a butt in your face after it's been pooped in a wrestling ring, good night. No thanks. So shout out to DK.
You look fly today. The old Rikishi theme song.
Oh, what are we doing with these Lions, man? I mean, I kind of am quietly cheering for them every week because of Dan Campbell and his appearances in the Hard Knock situation. But man, they're certainly an explosive offense. Goff looks way better this year than he did last year, and he looks like this is the best he looked since the heyday of his time on the Rams. Yet the defense can't seem to do anything. And if I'm not wrong, Dan Campbell kind of hangs his hat on his ability to coach defense. So this is a very shocking situation. Aaron Glenn is the defensive coordinator. If you remember that guy, Aaron Glenn, he's the defensive coordinator for the Lions. So this is really confounding how bad they are on the defensive side of the ball because their offense is balling out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those situations where they just need. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson is doing what he was drafted so high to do.
Yeah.
Like he is all up in the business, which is fun to watch him play. I think the thing you have to remember, regardless of what he's kind of known for, the Lions are still the Lions. They're trying to learn how to bring that winning culture into the room. And I think by being able to at least put points on the board like this and to hang with these teams, they'll get there. I never saw them making a full turnaround this season. I just got excited because I was like, okay, because like they almost beat the Eagles, bro.
Yeah,
like
bro.
they almost did it. You beat, again, a not good team in the Commanders, and then the Vikings, that's a division rival, but you stuck it to the Vikings too. You almost pulled that off. So I just think they need time to develop into that winning culture. I just feel bad for them because their next series of games are the Patriots, Cowboys, Dolphins, Packers, Bears, Giants. The only 2 games I could see, because the Seahawks would have been one of them that would have said you would have gone for. Yeah. Maybe the Patriots, because we don't really know who they are yet, but it's Belichick, and Belichick knows Dan. Yeah. He'll pick Dan apart. And then the other half, you gotta keep your morale up again after that of getting through the Cowboys, Dolphins, and Packers before you even get to the Bears or the Giants.
Right.
Both winnable games, but like you need to feel good about yourself before you get there.
Good point. It's a good point. Yeah, but wasn't Aaron Glenn? He was a cornerback, right? So shout out to him getting promoted to a position where he's a defensive coordinator. It's his second season leading the Lions as well. So he's not new to the defensive coordinator position. So I don't know. Just got questions. I've just got questions, man. Because
I don't have answers to.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much.
We have to figure this out because I want to see these Lions get a few victories.
I'm happy for Geno Smith, bro.
Talk about
that is what I'm here for. 320 and 2 touchdowns in the air, 49 and a touchdown on the ground for him.
Okay.
I am happy for Geno Smith because
this is Geno Smith in a nutshell, isn't it? Like inconsistent game to game, right? Because he showed up against the Russell Wilson and those Broncos, then he shit the bed for 2 games, and he came back and won this game. So what do you got with Geno Smith?
I mean, you're very right, but look at his game. Like he's been doing what he needed to do. It's more that the Seahawks suck because again. Played against Atlanta, he put up 325 and 2 touchdowns and an interception.
Good point.
That's a pretty good game. I know Atlanta's not a good team, but that's a good game from him. San Francisco just is a division rival.
Yeah.
And they've always been defense-minded first.
Right.
So I'm not surprised he went only 197 and an interception there. So all things considered, if this is how he's going to start playing now, I mean, good for him. Like that's what we want to see.
A little late blooming. For sure. But Rashad Penny is an interesting situation. They're blowing up. So we'll see. He hasn't shown that he can do that yet this season. So him exploding for so much offense. Shout out to him. Who knows? Maybe they found something there. We shall see. Oh, Geno to Dallas. Confirmed per Winston A. Marshall. I did not know that. Geno Smith.
No. That's not what I said. That's not what I said at all. He's in a good system. Let him cook there. I didn't ask for that. Cooper Rush is handling his business. I will keep Cooper Rush till Dak comes back. Don't do this.
Gina's probably going to be starting for us next year. All right, let's keep going on with the rest of the games here. Well, actually, we got a couple of quick side stories here to jump into, and keep sending in your Streamlabs super chats. Come on, folks, send in your support as we go along here. We'd love to have you supporting everything we're doing here. JJ Watt, who played in the 26-16 victory the Cardinals had here, tweeted out that earlier in the week, he was told somebody leaked some personal information about me, and it's going to be reported today. He went into A-fibrillation on Wednesday, had my heart shocked back into rhythm on Thursday, and I'm playing today. That's it. Insane to think about this. He's 33 years old, and why is he putting himself in this position? Watt said that he talked with cardiologists and electrophysiologists and was told and assured multiple times that it was safe for him to play, even though he'd had this atrial fibrillation, which is part of an irregular heart rhythm that begins in your heart's upper chamber. So what's your reaction to this, Winston, especially on the heels of the Tua situation? Why was he allowed to play?
I mean, there's a reason why there is one particular idea for sports victims unit that is kind of far and away on the others, even though the having to take a shit mid-game is a good one.
That's a good one.
I get it. I know these arrhythmias can happen, and I know that they can be a quick fix that can also end up with a couple that, like my buddy had an irregular heartbeat sort of thing happening, got decent insurance. So it took much longer to diagnose, set up the surgery, and then get it done. But once the surgery happened, he was out within 24 hours and cleared to go home. But the doctor specifically told him, you're gonna need to take it the fuck easy for a while.
Yeah.
So like do not do anything that will get your heart rate elevated for at least, I think they had him wait a month. Now, I know you're dealing with different doctors. I know you're dealing with different surgeons. I know you're dealing with a body that, even though my buddy is in great shape, he's not in NFL player shape. So, I get that those are different scenarios here. Yeah. I just find it very hard to trust any of the doctors that are associated with the NFL right now after what just happened with Tua. And I think that that's the reason why Watt decided he needed to get in front of this as soon as it happened, because he knew after everything that was going on that people were going to harp on that, as they should, because this is a bad look.
Yeah.
This is a very, very bad look. And I'm glad that he's fine. I'm glad that he was able to play through it without issue, but this just seems really stupid over a game against Carolina. This isn't for your playoff life or a chip.
Yeah.
It's to play Baker Mayfield and the Carolina Panthers. So like I put questionable looks on not just JJ, but the whole coaching staff and the NFL as a whole after what we just witnessed, to not be like, dude, just sit one out. Just sit one out.
Yeah.
Let's monitor you.
His son is about to be born.
I think his son just was born, if I remember.
Just was born then. Even more so. Like, dude, take a week off. Like, relax a little bit. Have fun with the kid or whatever. And I get it. Look, J.J. Watt has always billed himself as a warrior, as a football warrior, a gridiron warrior on the field, of course. But there's a line where you're like, you know what? This has gone past. Like, you're not 21 years old or 22 years old anymore, even 25. You're 33. Like, there's a future here past the game. You've got to start factoring that into these situations. And look, I mean, he knows his body better than anybody else. He's had the feeling, but just because all these doctors said it was okay, if you walked out there and something happened, they're not going to fucking pay your bills. They're not going to take care of your family after you're gone. It's not going to be the doctor.
His wife. Yeah. So his wife hasn't given birth yet. You're right. It is impending. So it is what it is. But this was his quote. I'd probably be more uncomfortable sitting on the couch at home. You know, this is what I know. Right or wrong, maybe that's messed up. But if I was sitting at home watching the boys play and knowing that they said I was perfectly fine to play, I would have felt weird. So I just didn't. I did what I know. Mm-hmm. This is why I think I was so upset with the NFL and the system they have set up for the doctors when we did our episode on Friday.
Yeah, on Friday,
because you can't put this in the hands of somebody who knows I'm a warrior, buck up.
Right.
That's not a good look because, again, the doctor said he was fine. Yeah, the odds were pretty low and all that kind of stuff. And at least it wasn't same day. This happened on Thursday. The game's on Sunday. But, why would you not err on the side of caution and just give it a week? And if you go into full practices and whatnot, and you're not having any issues, then do it. Why would you run that risk game day again when your son is about to be born?
Yeah.
For me, I get it, but this isn't like this is again playoffs, chip, or even I'm that guy that was undrafted, and this is my one chance to make it in the NFL. You are JJ fucking Watt. You are one of the greatest defensive players of all time. You will play again as long as your body can hold up. I don't know why you don't wait, honestly.
Because you're going to feel weird sitting on the couch. Feel weird sitting on the couch for a week. It's okay. You know, if you can handle whatever they throw at you on the field, why can't you handle sitting on the couch watching a game? This is the frustrating part that I think when I'm looking at this situation. I love people who push through injury, push through whatever to try to deliver their best. But like as you're getting older, you start to see that there's a bigger picture here, right? And people try to say how, I fought through it and I was on the field and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, but it's just as challenging for you, if not maybe more so mentally, to sit on the couch and wait a week watching people play. If you're strong enough to handle what's going on the field, you damn well should be strong enough to sit on your fucking couch and watch your guys play without you while you are taking a precautionary week to make sure nothing else weird happens with your heart because your child's about to be born. That needs to be as respected as what you see them do on the field. And until that is, it's going to be something seen as weakness, unfortunately, instead of strength. And that's got to change if we're going to change these players putting themselves at risk against doctors' orders or against their body's orders or family orders or against common sense. And I wonder if that's ever going to happen, especially in a man's league like the NFL. I don't know.
I mean, and the more I look at it, and there's lots of stuff that we don't know. We're not doctors, but as far as people it can happen to anybody. There's some people that are more susceptible to it, but I'm just kind of seeing about how his heart just got into an irregular rhythm.
Yeah.
And it does happen, and it's a scary procedure because you essentially have to stop. It looks like, if I'm reading this correctly, stop the heart to restart it so that the rhythm, essentially doing like a hard reboot on a computer.
Yes, that's what it is. Control Alt Delete.
But the danger of doing those hard reboots, even if they're done all the time, if something is majorly wrong, there is always a possibility, since you're just kind of cutting power, that it doesn't boot back up. So again, I don't know why he wouldn't have just chilled
Yeah.
I think just chill for 1 week. It is not the end of the world. And I think the other thing that's so wild about it is I do get his privacy and HIPAA and all that kind of stuff. And I understand him being frustrated that his business got put out in the streets.
Yeah, of course. You want to get out of the story.
But knowing what the business was, bruh,
I'm
less mad about the person that leaked that. I'm more like, what are you doing?
Yeah. What are you thinking for sure? Let's move on to another story here. The NFL players, this follows up on what we talked about with Tua. The NFL Players Association has dismissed a neurologist who evaluated the Miami Dolphins quarterback after Tua got hit in the head in the game against Buffalo last Sunday. Tua was allowed to return only to be carted off. And of course, what happened. The dismissal came hours before the Players Union and the NFL announced on Saturday that they were working to modify the league's concussion protocol. The union, quote, exercised its right to remove the doctor known as an unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant who had advised the Dolphins team doctor in the past. The doctor has not been publicly identified, so we don't know who that is, but I'm going to bring up a tweet here that was sent over the weekend as well. And this is from Maura Barrett, who I think works for NBC News. She's a reporter. Said the NFL will announce changes to its concussion protocol in coming days. I just spoke with that league's chief medical officer and asked him if this indicates the NFL admitting a wrong decision was made to let Tua play again last week. So this is a fascinating, ever-developing situation here, Winston, because clearly, as I said last week, the fact that it was on a national game with no other games happening to distract you, everybody saw what happened. So the NFL finally stepping in, even though people have been saying for years, even with the concussion protocol, that it wasn't enough. And they finally needed to see someone be in this kind of a position. And I know people have said in the past, like, someone's going to have to die on the field. Well, we came damn close. And so finally the NFL is responding, but will it be enough? What do you think about all this?
I think it's wild that as we broke that down yesterday, or Friday, that this independent mental health doctor or whoever, this is why they do that. So they can scapegoat somebody if the worst happens. And it's easy to just fire a no-name doctor, you know what I mean? And like, maybe they said we fired somebody, but maybe they hide this dude's name so he can just like still go live out his career, but not, or maybe they just sacrifice him to the lambs, like, or sacrifice him to slaughter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. But I'm glad something, but it feels very little too late, because the NFL is literally a blood sport.
You
know, so it is what it is. I mean, the fact that people will not just go because they had concussions, but heart surgery, that they're just gonna play. So whatever, man. If we don't see meaningful change pushed by the players, like hardcore push, where now all of a sudden everybody as a whole is like, enough is enough, and we're gonna boycott until we then I think there's gonna be a point at which I have to. It's weird to say this, but stop caring. If that makes sense, because if I can advocate for you all day long, but if you can't advocate for yourselves, if the players are ultimately good with this, it's not saying that I want to see somebody die on the field, but it's gonna eventually happen if we don't take this shit more seriously. Right.
And Chris Nowinski, who of course has come out to, he's been tweeting about the whole situation with Tua, he is in charge. He's in charge of a foundation here that explores this stuff for concussions and make sure these situations, or try to make people aware of how dangerous these situations actually are. It's called the Concussion Legacy Foundation, which is a nonprofit. He's been studying the brains of some former Dolphins, including Nick Bonacani, who was on that NFL show on HBO for such a long time. He is a former Harvard football player, former WWE performer, whose career was cut short because of concussions. He said that this second concussion from Tua is not two separate concussions. This is two concussions literally almost connected because they happened so quickly after each other. And he said, this is kind of dangerous. Essentially, your brain needs weeks or even more than a month to get back to normal. And that means your cells are damaged and they need time to recover. They need time to get back to normal function. And if you have what we call a second neurometabolic cascade after the first one is resolved, You're taking cells that would have recovered and you're killing them, and you're talking about permanent brain damage. So this is a risk now in his mind that this is a possibility for Tua that he might suffer permanent brain damage. And Winston, we know about these players in CTE. We've seen the headlines, we've seen the movies, we've seen the documentaries, we've seen the interviews. Tua's ruled out for this week, for week 5, but should he come back at all? I don't know.
Now, this is the thing.
Yeah.
If you do at a certain point, it really is like if we're like his brain checks out, that is then on Tua to make the decision. Am I going to continue to put my life at risk knowing that I have been to this close to the brink? There is a point at which I'm like, that's on Tua, honestly. And I have to wash my hands of it. If he goes in, good for you, dog. And if he walks away, good for you, dog. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
What my concern is in the moment. If you genuinely are not able to make that decision for yourself, and I think anybody that is clouded by, I got to get in there, coach, and it's not just because your head's banged up, but because your body's just banged up in general. No, I got to go, because lo and behold, JJ Watt.
Right.
It is what it is. So I will say I'm mixed. Okay. There's the part that enjoys watching Tua play, like, because when he plays, he balls, that I want to see him play more. There's another part of me that's like, I literally almost watched this man die.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him play anymore. So I think it's got to be a case-by-case basis. I just need the league and the doctors and all that. I need them to be legitly good at their job and have hard, fast rules that we will not see that happen.
Yeah.
Because we weren't taking this seriously. It was because this was the one freak hit that did it. Yeah. And that's something completely different than someone that has a chronic something that this is not okay. So I really want to make sure that when Tua comes back, he needs to be like cleared beyond a shadow of a doubt, not because some coach or some team really wants him back out there, but because he's truly clear to play without concern. Yeah. And then anything that happens going forward is just, because you're playing a violent sport.
Neurosurgeons and people who are professionals in concussion diagnosis must be part of these renovations that the NFL all of a sudden miraculously thinks needs to happen. They on every team, and it must be funded, and they must be allowed to be independent, and their guidelines must be followed to a T for every person. No matter if the fans get mad, no matter if the NFL is afraid they're going to lose money, this is the way it's got to be done if you want to take care of your workforce. Because I think every player should sue the fuck out of the NFL when they leave the league if they feel they haven't been properly taken care of because the NFL fudged some stuff or put influence on the doctors or the team doctors to kind of okay them getting back on the field. You're in essence indirectly responsible for the situation. You're an accomplice to, in essence, a crime, and that should be taken more seriously by the courts. And why do the bots love our show? It's mind blowing. Anyway, all right. Yeah. And these bots are like Antonio Brown. I like it. Okay.
They just won't stop harassing you. Oh, Lord. Put it in reverse stereo.
They're showing me their privates and their buttocks, and I don't need to see either.
Wow. So apparently that video was shot in May. Apparently it just dropped.
Oh, it was in May. All right.
Well, that was the thing. It got leaked this week, and so I don't trust Antonio Brown. I trust him as far as I can throw him.
Sure.
But at the same time, there's probably some truth to the matter of the NFL knew they were in trouble.
Yeah.
How do you get yourself out? Hey, did some disgraced players show they dick and ass on camera? Cool. Do that.
Right. Well, also, this could be a CTE thing too with Antonio. We don't know.
I think people are saying before the Brissett hit, he actually was always kind of an asshole.
Right.
But I think what it was, to be honest with you, I think that he could have been, but he was able to hide it better because he didn't have CTE yet.
Right. And unfortunately, I don't think you can diagnose CTE while the person's still alive.
Until they're dead, yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. All right, let's move on to the best of the rest here as we wrap up the show. Send in your final Streamlabs and SuperChats as we go along. Do it now, folks. You've been enjoying our show for over an hour. Send in your love, so you don't have to ask a question or a thought or comment. You can just send in some support to encourage us to keep doing this every week for sure. All right, let's move on to this. Kyler Murray had 2 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown, and helped the Cardinals top the Panthers in the J.J. Watt game, 26-16. Austin Eckler scored 3 touchdowns for the Chargers as they held off the Texans, who were valiantly coming back on them, 34-24, with Justin Herbert throwing for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he looks like he's back to normal. The defense led the Raiders to their first win first win of the season over the Broncos here, 32-23. Russell Wilson, I don't know what to make of Russell Wilson in this offense, but it looks so inconsistent. I don't know. The Vikings hung on in jolly old England to win 28-25 over the Saints behind Kirk Cousins' 273 yards passing. Andy Dalton doing his best for the Saints there, but it wasn't quite enough. Wilson rallied the Jets past Kenny Pickett here, who came in to replace Mitch Trubisky for the Steelers, 24-20. Nice to see Kenny Pickett get 2 rushing touchdowns. He did throw a costly interception, I think a couple of interceptions, but in the end, you're going to be better off with Kenny Pickett getting game time over Mitchell Trubisky. Make the move now, Tomlin. Enough is enough already. Derrick Henry reigned as the Titans held off the Colts 24-17. Saquon Barkley exploded for 162 yards of offense to lead the Giants 20-12 over the Bears, but Daniel Jones hurt his ankle. The oft-injured Daniel Jones was hurt again, and D. Alfred's late pick helped the Falcons stave off the Browns comeback here 23-20. Even though the Browns had Nick Chubb going for 118 yards and a touchdown, it wasn't enough as Mariota and the Falcons got the job done. Which game stands out to you that you want to discuss real quick, Winston? Or which performance?
They're all kind of shitty. I mean, good for Eckler on the come up, 3 touchdowns. Love that. Good for the Raiders. I keep telling you, this is a better team than they look, but there is something in the water that makes them continue to fail. I think having the division opponent helped get them over the hump here. But Jacobs played a phenomenal game. The Saints have fallen off. It is what it is. There's too many injuries. They're not doing well. I think the one that sticks out to me the most has to be Zach Wilson leading the Jets past the Steelers.
Okay.
The Jets have no business beating the Steelers.
Right.
Honestly, because the Jets aren't a good team. Sorry, Haskell. They're not.
No.
If this is the beginning of the resurgence of the Jets this season, good for you. Because so far, ain't nobody thought that they were I didn't watch the full slate of games just because I didn't go to a bar. I don't have the Sunday ticket. So I just didn't even know that this was happening. And I didn't know that the Jets did this. And on the road
in Pittsburgh. Yes,
sir. Yeah. So good for Zach Wilson, man. And Bryce Hall looking to have a pretty decent game, 66 and a touchdown. Good for him. Also, Zach Wilson caught one of those touchdowns.
Yes. They played the old Philadelphia special, which is really the Patriots special, and got that touchdown for Wilson.
Holy shit. That is my game of the best of the rest. Okay. Holy shit.
All right.
Hey, you know what it was? He is really good.
Yeah.
At catching them older ladies. So maybe the football, leathery feeling, you know what I'm saying? He just caught that right in for a touchdown.
Oh my God. Any truth to the rumor that he and Flacco are going after the same woman there in New York? I don't know. Here's the scary part of this. 4 weeks into the season, the Jets are only 1 game behind the division-leading Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. They're only 1 game behind. So that's kind of crazy. They have the worst points for percent. They have 76 points for, 101 points against. Not even New England, who was behind them in the standings in their division, has as big of a gap. So that tells you volumes about how the hell they're doing this. I don't know, but they've got the victory here. The rest of the schedule or the next few games, they're going to be in Miami for the Dolphins. So that's really going to show us what they've got. Then they're at the Packers, which will also the Jets at Green Bay. Who heard of that? Then they've got the Patriots, the Bills, and the Patriots again, back to back to back. So it's going to be interesting next 5 weeks or 6 weeks rather for next 6 weeks for these Jets to see what we got by the end of it. But Haskell, at least you got some hope in this team for sure. And for me on the other side, I will go with Pittsburgh. I love that Kenny Pickett is now in for Mitchell Trubisky. Tomlin, keep this going. Yeah, the kid threw some interceptions. It might have cost you the game, but he's a young kid. Get him some game time. I have a feeling he's going to figure the game out quicker than people think, just like I had a feeling about Josh Allen. I just have a feeling there are certain players, they look a certain way when I see them on the field, and I just have a feeling they'll figure it out. And I think Pickett is one of these guys. So get him on the field as soon as possible. Let him start. You motherfuckers, like I said last week, you're not going anywhere. So you might as well let the kid have some game time. Let him learn. Let the defense pick him up. Let the other players on the offense give him confidence. And let's see what you got. Let Trubisky warn that damn bench. And if nothing else, you've got a backup. If Pickett gets hurt or Pickett is inconsistent, bring Trubisky in to see what sparks the offense. So you've got a good situation. Let the kid play, in my opinion. So there we go. And shout out to Saquon Barkley as well for getting himself 162 yards. He looked fantastic yesterday. And one thing about the Panthers, sweet God Almighty, I feel so bad for y'all dealing with Trubisky. Lord Almighty, man, that kid, I don't know. He threw so many deflected passes. It was insane against those Cardinals. Essentially handed the game to them. I think there was a 4th one by the time we got to the third quarter. And it just is, that's something you see terrible quarterbacks who are losing it start to do. And so I don't know how many games you guys are going to win with Baker Mayfield as your quarterback, Carolina, because McCaffrey is doing all he can, and it's still not enough. So, all right, see if we got any more Streamlabs or Super Chats. Oh, Corey Rudolph sent one in, says, keep up the great work, guys. Relieved my Raiders. Finally locked down a win. Who knows? Winston might be right about these Raiders. I don't know. You might be right.
Have you watched their games? Because they're doing everything right until they're not. And that's if they can genuinely solve their late game woes, I truly believe they could be a force to be reckoned with. But for the most part, until yesterday, they cannot finish.
Yeah. That's true. But they did put up 32 points on a Denver defense that only allowed 11 or 10 to the 49ers. So that speaks volumes about their ability to ball out on offensive side of the ball for sure. Some quick notes before we wrap up. Denver Broncos running back Javonte Williams is out for the season. They just announced this on ESPN.
Who was?
He has both a torn ACL and an LCL. Sweet.
Oh,
mother of
who?
God.
Wait, who?
Javonte Williams for the Denver Broncos. They're running back.
Oh, dude, no. Both? Oh, God.
That's a shame.
That sucks.
Right? And as I said here, Tua is out for week 5. And the Jets, the Giants, rather, they're not sure what they're going to do with Daniel Jones because he's got that ankle sprain. Showed a little bit of improvement, but they haven't decided yet whether he's out for week 5 or if he's going to start. We shall see when they put that. And sadly, Cordarrelle Patterson has been placed on injured reserve because he's having a procedure on his knee Monday morning. So they expect him to be back sooner rather than later, but he is out now on IR. I think he's out for weeks if you put on IR, right? I think it's like 6 weeks or something.
At least 6.
Yeah. So
holy, you could do short-term IR, which I think is 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he's on IR, that's 6 weeks, bro. Damn.
Yeah, it's a shame. And then Colts ruled out Shaquille Leonard for that was actually a Thursday night game. So never mind. Let's let it be. That was for the Sunday game. So that's it. That's all the news we have right now for the NFL on that side of things. So there we go. Let's wrap it up there. See if we got any more Streamlabs Super Chats. No. All right. Thanks everybody. Appreciate it madly. Another fun show. Please remember to hit that like button as we wrap up. What's that?
Predictions?
Oh yeah. Do I have predictions for tonight? I mean, I'm wearing it. That's my prediction.
Oh, damn.
Winston, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't see a reason why the Rams lose here. The only one would be because they're on the road. So, I mean, this is still a division game, which means that the Niners, which are pretty decent, still have a very high chance of winning this game. But I just think you're talking about the reigning champs here. You're talking about they haven't taken too many steps back, and they're making adjustments for that. So I will go Rams.
Okay.
24.
Okay.
Niners 17.
Ooh, okay. Close game. 7 points. I've got 31-10 Rams. I think the 49ers are now back questioning Jimmy G after that performance against the Broncos last week. And I don't anticipate the Rams, who really want to prove that they are Super Bowl contenders again after a bit of a shaky start. I think this is a good night for them to prove that. by coming out and taking care of a divisional foe pretty handily and showing what they can do. Holy shit, another one. All right.
One more. God damn. We got a roll.
AB, leave me alone, AB. I'm just trying to get out of the pool. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us here. We appreciate it madly. You guys are incredible. We appreciate you watching. Thanks for the Streamlabs and the Super Chats. Winston, another fun show. Where can they find your brother and everything going on?
Absolutely everywhere that swaggy blurs are sold, man. I will. So the way that I do my Law and Order sports victims units, I put them on TikTok first thing Tuesday. So the one for week 4 will be out tomorrow, but then I take the one from the previous week. So I will put week 3's on YouTube pretty much when we get off. So if you don't already, please, I'm trying to build up those those TikTok numbers. So please go over there and follow me there. It would mean the world to me to do that. But for those that are YouTube heads, I will follow me here because I have been doing reviews of Atlanta, a bunch of other stuff. So I will put this in here too. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. If you want to know what's going on in my life, that's my handle on all platforms this way.
Follow. Dude, that last episode of Atlanta was fantastic. Holy
it was so good. It was so good, right? It's not of the 4, it's not my favorite, but it's still really, really good.
I think D'Angelo is my favorite. The D'Angelo episode.
The D'Angelo episode was pretty damn good. For me, it was the second episode. It was it was the petty episode. That root, because I was watching going, this is dumb. I'm bored. This is dumb. And then the twist happens and I go, oh shit. It's a wrap.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I loved it. When he's like, can you have any water? And he opens it, it's Dasani. He goes, fuck you. But yeah, I mean, last week's episode was so good. It reminded me of like my parents and my family, and that whole situation. I was like, Jesus Christ! So
every single person that I know, every black person I know, has the aunties and the uncles that'll do that shit, and they'll get everybody on the phone, and then somebody want to make a complaint. And to the fact about how that episode really centered around the argument over who's watching the eldest person in the family because of like the inheritance and or the pension check or whatever. I have literally witnessed that happen in my family multiple, where somebody will force themselves to be the only caretaker. Not that they're the only person that's volunteering. They will force themselves to be the only one. And then when it's time to get the money, being like, well, you weren't there for daddy. Oh, yeah. You didn't let me be there for daddy. So it was good. It was a good episode.
My aunt pulled that same shit with my grandmother and forged my father's signature on property in another country and took the profits. That shit is dirty. People get dirty because you're right. They say, well, I took care of it when you wouldn't, so I deserve all this shit. It speaks to a deeper issue for sure.
Absolutely. So well, and then last thing, Taviska, if that's how you feel, like I said, go, if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I do an Atlanta review, full talk back, all that with my boy Matt Thomas. So they're up there. We've done the first 4 episodes, and we're gonna do number 5 too in the rest of the season. So come on through.
Cleveland's own Matt Thomas. Big Jacoby Brissett fan. No, he is. All right. Thank you.
I mean, there are 2 options, and one of them is not a sexual assault person.
That's true. It's a very good point. All right, let's get out of here. We're getting in trouble. Thank you all so much for joining us. For me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell button. Dropped my Wakanda Forever trailer reaction this morning, 8 a.m., son. 8 a.m. I got out of bed at 7:30 to do that reaction. So you can watch. It's up there now. We'll probably have House of the Dragon review about 6 o'clock tonight. Spoiler review before I head off to my screening. So look for that as well later on tonight. And then tomorrow, some stuff dropping as well. So thank you all so much. And if you're watching later, please hit a like, leave a comment, and remember that thanks button. If you want to send in some financial support to thank us for doing the show, hit that thanks button, send in a little bit. Thank you so much. All right. Y'all the best. Peace out. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of Game Time.